Okay then, Darryl, so we're going to show you good ones, okay? Give you some confidence of how good you actually can play them again. We'll talk about the ones that didn't go quite so well and why they wouldn't, okay? So setup wise for me is good. That ball position is sort of middleish to forward, okay? Depending on the type of shot you want to play, we can move that back and forth, okay? But the king for me, just make sure that left foot at the front there is just dragged back a little bit, okay? Just opens up that hip to enable that pivot with the torso, okay? But the main thing now with the torso is you're going back, we want that torso to be moving with the club. So as that club goes back, the hips and the shoulders are kind of going with it, taking the wrist out of place. The club's going to be going back a little bit shallower, and as we go back here, a bit more the club behind your hand, as you'll see. When we get to here, kind of in the club now, just sort of behind the hands there nicely, okay? So the club behind it needs the hands are slightly leading, okay? Okay, so the club's going to come back in slightly hands first, nice bit of shaft lean, without you trying to manipulate it or adjust it, okay? All you've got to do from this right hand one now, as you come back through, hands again slightly behind the hands here, so the club behind the hands, should I say, as in here, there your hands. On the other one before, you would pick it up this and the club was kind of out here somewhere, almost like a full thing, getting the club out in front of you too much and a bit steep. So now the club's working shallower. As we come back to the golf ball, we can hit the ground if needs be. Almost there, you can see they hit the ground behind the golf ball. Turn and pivot the torso through. And this movement here now, everything looks as though it's kind of working from one central source of the chest and the torso, pivoting back and through. Your wrist hinge will be there a little bit anyway. I'm not saying don't take the wrist out of play completely, but don't create the sort of initiated move with the wrist or the hands and the arms, yeah? You sort of took the wrist back first, and then if the wrist go back first and then you did turn, the club would get too far behind you. But the club was actually getting out in front of you in a position that it really should have gone way behind. So actually you're way out in front than you normally would be, okay? So as that club was going back, say if the hands were the first... If when you were swinging here, if you just swung your hands away first, the club would whip way inside, yeah? The fact your club was going up this direction, saying outside your hands, meant really you're going sort of out here, yeah? Because it was kind of like you're going and just dumping the club in the ground. And then the way you try to shallow that was sort of dropping your shoulder underneath, which now lowers your strike point back here again, hitting the ground way behind the ball, okay? If we get the body to turn this way now, if we come back to the golf ball, there's your strike point. You duffed it. Don't matter, does it? Because the golf club's coming in from a good angle and the pivot of the body turned to the golf ball. Everything now is working as one. The ball comes off the club face nice and soft because the body is still going. And then there at impact, you see the hands just in front of the golf ball, turning and pivoting through onto that left side, and the ball then floating up. The one that went a little bit long, we'll call it a little bit long, you did think it was a little bit long in the flower beds there, which is too long a golf swing now. So, and in fairness, if you get one out of, a dozen there, it's not a bad ratio, is it? Okay.
No.
If we can think, okay, and again, over time with a bit of confidence, that'll become 1 out of 20, 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100 even, yeah? Almost the point where you'd rarely hit it, which I think from you going forward is going to give you a massive confidence boost.
Definitely.
Take the pressure out of your long game or your approach play. Because if you miss the green now, almost look forward to it, yeah? Look at the challenge you're going to have. Okay, and again, when you next play, think, okay, if I miss the green, it's a chance up and down and look good. And almost take that as a positive outcome, not like, oh, here we go, I got a chip again. Because you almost know, we said on the assessment last week, when you got the first green, oh, we're down, and you went, oh, here we go again, kind of thing. Almost see the whole wind and the air go, and just you slump into this shot and be like, oh, God, what's going to happen now? Because history has shown that you're going to get this wrong, and, well, you had 3 shots to get on the green, wasn't it? So we can just get on there, single putt maybe. That's a lot of shots saved, okay? Does that make sense then, yeah?
It does,
so more kind of pivot with the torso. Use the torso to hit the golf club back. At this point here now, if you actually do watch some of the clips on TV, they always talk about the chipping in the pitch of the hands getting sort of the club behind the hands there, okay? It just means the club now is just slightly behind the hands. When I come into impact, the hands are slightly leading. I can then turn my torso through. If the hands and the club get outside too much, when I come back to the golf ball now, it's going to be a bit scoopy. If I try to drop underneath, it's going to cause some other issues there with the strike. So having the hands there or the club just a bit behind the hands, it means I can just turn my torso through this way. I've already got the angle I want with the shaft. Just to pivot with the torso now means that club can come through, and you can control the speed a lot more with this butt end of the club going slower. It means the club head's going, the club head's going a lot slower, yeah? This moves through now with the torso twisting, the butt end and the body working aggressively, so some ways faster, the club head slower. Whereas in the past, you sort of try to slow everything down, you slow down the grip end, slow the torso down, and then just flick with the hands. Disaster, yeah?
Yeah, very much so.
Cool. Okay, mate?
Brilliant.
Good stuff.